Well, hello everyone, and welcome to episode 45 of the Inventive Marketing Club. We're here every Friday so we can build a better marketing strategy together. Hello, Claire, how are you doing?
Hello, Ben. I'm good, thanks. I've been enjoying the sunshine this week.
Yeah, it's been lovely,
been
hasn't
great,
it?
isn't it? Fantastic.
And we've also got Jonathan, who's talking to us about Pinterest. Say hi, Jonathan.
Hi there. Hi, everyone.
I will hand over to Jonathan in a minute. I'm actually really looking forward to this. I mean, I look forward to hearing from Jonathan all the time, but Pinterest, I really like Pinterest because it really goes with my sort of ethic of for marketing, which is all about doing the minimum possible really to actually sort of develop your marketing over time. So for me, I've often used Pinterest as a way of putting out content on a regular basis and just letting people find it when they're ready, rather than the sort of this frantic pace that often social media has, where you've got to keep posting and got to keep putting stuff up there so you actually get noticed. But let's get straight into it. So Jonathan's going to be talking to us about Pinterest and taking us through the essentials that we need to know. And I think you're even giving us a bit of a demo of the mobile app.
Indeed. Yeah, looking forward to that part of it. Yes.
Right. Well, if you share your screen, let's get on with it. Thanks, Jonathan.
Okay, thank you for the introduction, Ben. So we're talking about Pinterest and everything you need to get going with that particular app, social network, search engine. What is it? Let's dive in and see. So first of all, in terms of a definition, I think the best way to approach what Pinterest actually is to use Pinterest's own words. And so they talk about Pinterest giving people their next great idea. So when people talk about and describe Pinterest, there's a lot of use of the word inspiration. So that's kind of like hinting at that with that. And then they also say it's a one-stop shop for inspiration, new products, and new possibilities. So picking up a couple of points from here, interesting that they actually cleverly, I think, use the word shop, because it is definitely a place where not only people are going for ideas of what they should buy, for recommendations and that sort of thing, but the way it works, as we'll see, is that you can actually directly shop there. And new as well, so plenty of new stuff, if you like, both new products, new ideas, and as Pinterest say themselves, new possibilities. So what can your business use it for? So it's definitely really kind of like a storefront or a showcase. So really good for showcasing products. Kind of like talking about products quite a bit, and I think it is without doubt mainly products. It's not to say that you can't promote services on Pinterest, but I think it's a lot harder to do so. If you were on the talk last week about TikTok, I think TikTok is actually probably better for services than Pinterest. It just kind of lends itself to that a little bit better. So I think mainly we're talking about products here. So you can show off your products, but you can also sell them. It's great for brand awareness to get your business name and those products out there. One interesting use that a lot of people aren't aware of is that Pinterest has got this concept of boards. So boards are really, if you think of them as albums, a bit like photo albums in the traditional sense. So that is how your content is organized on Pinterest. So the idea is that you upload or you take photos and videos, and then those are organized in boards. So they have this idea, which is quite a clever one, of secret boards. So that means that your secret board you can set it however you want. So it can be completely private, so only for you, but you can also allow other people to have access. So if it was private just for you, then it can be used almost like a kitchen drawer, really. I kind of like use it in that way. So if there's sort of like snippets of information or a recipe here or there or something that I might want to buy or a reminder, that kind of like stuff, you can just sort of put it all in there really quickly and easily. No one else can access it. and it's just there for you. In fact, I've actually got a specific secret board for recipes. So just because I don't know, I just don't want other people necessarily to see that, because it's not particularly well organized or described or saved, and it's just a personal thing to me. So you can have these secret boards. So back to the point about collaboration. So one thing that you can do is that if you're in the business of design, I mean, it could be anything from working on designing a garden through to a website or anything like that. If you've got people that you're working with, then you can collaborate using a secret board, because maybe particularly at the early stages of the product, you can chuck in all your ideas into that secret board. You've got the ability to communicate, because Pinterest has got messaging like most of these other similar apps. And there you go, that concept can work quite well. So just an alternative way perhaps of working together, one that you might not have thought of there. Planning and promotion of events. So again, you'd probably use a secret board for this, but not necessarily. Definitely on the promotion side, you'd want to get your event out there. But the key thing with Pinterest, as we'll see, the final point here, is that you can drive traffic to a website. So that could include a ticketing website to sell tickets for your event. Also good for showing off testimonials. So quotes are a big thing on Pinterest. So you're probably all familiar with Canva. If not, canva.com, brilliant site for editing images and photos. And one thing you can do there is put quotes onto a background. Nice and quick and simple thing to do. Wide choice of backgrounds, or you can upload your own branded background there. So yeah, you can use quotes, but if you've got actual testimonial quotes from clients, that can actually work quite well. And of course, back to the idea of boards, you can actually have a board full of testimonials. So that's another idea for you there. But absolutely fundamentally, if we're looking at the business benefits, the main one by far and away, this is absolute standout with Pinterest, is driving traffic to the website. Because how it works, for those of you, if you're not aware how it works, is that you, very simple concept, you click on these photos or videos once, that enlarges it, and then you click on it again and you're off to the website. But also you can click on the link or a button that's attached to or adjacent to the photo and goes straight to the website as well. In fact, the website address is also displayed. So either way, you're going to be, and likelihood is, if you're a viewer on Pinterest, it's pretty hard just to like view content without visiting the website. So it's a really good way of attracting visitors to your website. And you can do that in one or two ways. So you can literally save content, so photos directly from your website, and then the link is already built in. Or you can upload content and then you can add a website address to that, and hey presto, people view it, people click it, and off they go to your website. So looking at what you actually sort of like need to get going with Pinterest. So it's primarily smartphone. So 85% of Pinterest users use the mobile app. Going to give you a few more stats around various things related to Pinterest in a second, but laptop as well. So it's not as mobile focused as, say, TikTok, for example. And I think if you were doing quite a bit, or if you're doing the planning thing that I mentioned, for example, or you had a lot of content to upload, if you were, say, doing a board with maybe, I don't know, 25 or 30 images plus in there, then probably actually better off doing it on the laptop. So you've got a choice there. The laptop is pretty fully functional in terms of what's there compared with the mobile app, but big difference with the mobile app, as we'll see, and our demo, is that you've got some pretty clever AR, so augmented reality functionality on the mobile, which isn't available on desktop or laptop, but more of that later. So I think the main thing that you need in terms of your skills and abilities, if you like, is Creativity. So even if you are sort of saving content that already exists, it's, how are you going to describe that? How are you going to curate that in boards? That's quite important. And what sort of photos and videos are you going to include? There's quite a lot of samey content on Pinterest, can work, but if you've got a bit of originality, that can definitely help. So for example, if your product has got a USP, if you're doing something that's just slightly different from other people maybe, or you're really niche, you've got a really niche product, or you're aiming for maybe really, really high quality, then it's quite good to show that off. So like really most content on most social networks, originality is going to help. Pinterest is that word again, all about inspiration. So you do really need the ability to inspire with whatever it is that you're promoting on there. So if you can generate ideas for people, even spark people to go with some sort of a project, whether it's indoor or outdoor, could be anything from redesigning a living room to creating a patio, let's say, then that is going to serve you really well, because that's one of the main reasons that people are using Pinterest is to obtain ideas, which brings us back to that definition to begin with. So if you've got that ability and your products help people to do that, then that can work quite well. And to a certain extent, as we'll see from some examples later, it's also about showing people how to do things as well. Time to plan. So I think, again, like all of these social networks, and when it comes to content, planning is important, but the way, back to those points about the way things are laid out, the way they're described, what kind of content you're going to upload, if that is planned out in advance, that can really, really help you. The actual mechanics of Pinterest are pretty good. I think, and we'll come back to this, but Ben in the intro referred to sort of relatively low effort, and I'm sure those of you that use Pinterest will agree that it's not actually too time consuming, and it's certainly not too difficult to actually upload content and create these boards. It's pretty well designed. It's very, very, very slick. So that is going to be good, but you do need to know what you're actually going to post. So the planning is important from that point of view. Definitely the quality angle on Pinterest. Again, referring to my talk last week, we talked about how TikTok is quite sort of raw and rough and ready compared with, say, Instagram Reels, which is a bit more polished. So Pinterest is definitely on the polished end of the spectrum. So we're looking at sort of high production values and pretty good quality photos and videos. It's very much got that sort of vibe about it. And I guess if one of the main sort of principles, functions of it is to actually sell products, whatever it is, if you're selling anything from candles to furniture to fashion and design items, all of which, by the way, go really well on Pinterest, then no one's really going to buy those if they're looking tacky and the photos aren't their very best. So quality photos and videos are good. Once again, always make this point with social networks. Yes, you've got to upload the quality content, but you can really get involved on Pinterest with the usual reacting, commenting with other people's content that is on there. And I think probably people on Pinterest are perhaps a bit more guilty of not doing that compared with the other apps. I think they've kind of put the focus on production and publication, if you like, and you have got to make that sort of little bit of extra effort to engage with other people. But it is important. Will get you noticed, will increase your viewers, and who knows, you might even build a few business relationships off the back of that. So good idea to, if you're not familiar, good idea to use it before you actually post. It's really quite a good experience as a viewer, if you like, or as a Pinterest user. As we'll see, you've got a news feed and a search that you can use, so it's pretty easy to absorb content. And the kind of thing to search for, really, to get your head around Pinterest is anything that you're interested in, really. any hobbies that you pursue, any sports, anything lifestyle related. So it's like everything from the type of coffee you drink and how you make your coffee, maybe, to the clothes that you wear, and how you furnish your home. So those kind of things are really what make up the main content on Pinterest. So looking at some key points, the big one, I think, in terms of how it differs from other social networks, inverted commas, is, I think, really it's more of a search engine than a social network. That is how a lot of people would use it. So by that I mean, most people starting point will be the search. So whilst there is a news feed, if you and your behavior, if you go onto Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, Facebook, opens in the news feed, and you scroll down the news feed and you absorb and you engage with that content. With Pinterest, a lot of people, the starting point is the search. So they're going to that search, keying in the words that we talked about and their interest and so on the previous slide. And then that is the results is their starting point. And then they'll go from there. They'll absorb that content, and Pinterest displays related content all the time, so that can sort of send you off on an interesting journey to give you these ideas, or to give you products that you can purchase. So in terms of its purpose, three sort of key things, and they're related. So inspiration, drive website traffic, and then sales. So they're actually in that logical order. So as a business, you want to inspire people. You want to inspire them enough so that they're going to click that button or click the image twice to visit your website, where hopefully they're going to buy that item. And so a very, very simple but effective strategy is to upload an image of a product, preferably in context or with a demo of somebody using it, and more of that later. But basically, your product is going to be in there somewhere. And then people will click on the website link, the product page will open, and then they can buy the product. So there is a Shopify integration with Pinterest, but just caveat this slightly. As far as I can tell, it's not available in the UK. I couldn't get this confirmed completely. I certainly haven't seen any examples of it. Definitely available in the US. And all the major e-commerce retailers, people like Etsy, which is very popular on Pinterest and so on, they are they're directing people to the website. So it doesn't seem that Shopify is available just yet, but of course you could be using Shopify on your website, and like we said, it's just one small step to get people over to Pinterest, to that product page that they can then buy. So in terms of type of content, quite a few product demos showing off how your product can work and what it can do. Quite a few explainers, again, in a similar sort of vein, in showing potential uses, and quite a few tips as well. One area that I don't think I have mentioned so far is beauty. So there's quite a lot of beauty and makeup stuff on there. And so all sorts of tips around that are available. And needless to say, the beauty company's product is going to be a part of that. So style really is inspirational, but also aspirational. So we talked about inspiration. The aspirational side of it really is that generally people are looking to improve something. So they are looking to improve their home or their garden, or the way they dress, or the way they exercise, or the food that they eat, all these lifestyle type things. Shopping's a big element. So 50% of users go onto Pinterest to shop. Ads, so like all the platforms, Pinterest ads are available. And the key thing there, it's awareness up to a point, but it does hark back to the point, the big business benefit of Pinterest being visits to the website. So it's just going to give you a jump start, if you like, to get more of those visits, because you're going to reach more people than you would organically, and going to see your ad, and they're going to click on that button, and they're going to visit the website. I would say it's USP, and this harks back to Ben's point actually, is that it enables you to get a large reach for actually relatively low effort, and if you're using the ads, relatively low budget. So I think it's probably got the best kind of like ratio for amount of time that you spend to the results that you get, which does make it interesting. Definitely, I would say that, you know, in layman's terms, all the other comparable social networks, that they're harder work to get the results. And I think the reason for that is the longevity of it, because you can upload some content, and because it functions as a search engine more than a social network, people can still find that 2 years down the line. Whereas we know with TikTok, Instagram, particularly, content is here today. In fact, it's not even here today, is it? It's more like here at 9 a.m. and gone at 11 a.m. It's that sort of shorter lifespan. So Pinterest is very, very different in nature from that. So you can actually get benefit from the few minutes it's taken you to plan, and even less time it's taken you to upload a particular image. You can get benefit of that for literally years to come. So that is a big bonus. So yes, people can discover in the news feed, and that is going to be more likely if it's more recent content. So it's got that going for it, just like all the other social networks. But in addition, it's got this sort of longer term search engine type effect. So a few stats then. It is smaller than the others, so for about 430 million users. It's doing quite well in terms of the ads, up 20%. It is a predominantly female audience, so that is worth noting if your business is catering for women. Those stats there are actually quite pronounced, might surprise a few people. They are, just to sort of caveat it a little bit, they are actually the ads audience as opposed to the number of users across the whole thing. But nevertheless, I think it does sort of show that women are the predominant type of users on the platform, and it's younger women as well. So women aged between 25 and 34 represent that should be 29.1, so 29-30% near enough of Pinterest ad audience, and that's a recent figure there. And it's for serious shoppers, or maybe we say serial shoppers, like Pinterest. So 75% of regular Pinterest users, weekly Pinterest users, said they're always shopping. So it is definitely a site for your serious shopper, which is good news if you're selling products, as is the fact that shoppers are 5 times more likely to purchase something if they can try it in AR. So it's got this interesting augmented reality effects that we're coming onto, and indeed I'll demo. I really hate this word pinners. I think it's not really in use, but I have kind of like used it there. But I mean, you can say users, I suppose. But 85% of pinners say they use Pinterest to plan new projects and make purchase decisions. So that harks back to the inspirational side of things. People are not, they might even be prompted to make the new project, but if they've got something in mind that they want to do, they can definitely get ideas around that. Another one, we've mentioned a few, but another one would be weddings. So the wedding industry is really big on Pinterest. So if you wanted, for example, to get ideas about the everything from flowers through to the table layout. Table layouts are a big thing on Pinterest. So, you know, whether you're going to have candlesticks and the placemats and the glasses and all that kind of thing, and vases, flowers on the table, etc. So, really good for that kind of thing. And 9 million people for the home furnishing side of things, home decor, anything from bath mats to sofas and furniture and stuff. 9 million people in the UK use Pinterest for home inspiration. So in terms of the makeup of the platform itself, so you can have a business profile. So business profile gives you analytics, the ability to advertise, and you get a check mark against your website address if you can demonstrate that you own the website. So definitely want a business profile if you're in business. There's this idea of pins is basically, pins is now the term that they use for all sort of like content. And within that, they call their version of stories, they call those idea pins, but essentially they're stories. So you can have stories up to 60 seconds. And I suppose you could argue that Instagram's got a stories, a video editor, but it's not, excuse me, it's not as fully featured as the Pinterest one. So for example, on Pinterest, you can trim the videos. You can't do that on Instagram. But both have the standard sort of like stories functionality, as we'll see in a second, adding stickers and that kind of thing. There's a Shopify partnership that I mentioned, but only available in the US right now, but hopefully here soon. Pinterest Lens is very interesting. So what you can do with that is you can point your couple of things, but you can point your camera at any sort of item. So something when you're out and about, literally in a shop maybe, and hey presto, it'll come up with other items that are similar to it that you might want to buy, and that might help you with the pricing. And I'll demonstrate that in a sec. And also you can use same kind of technology for things that are on the site as well. And that part, the camera part only works on the smartphone, but you can use the image. I'm not sure the exact name they give it. I think they just call it visual search, but you can use the same concept. So how that works is that you click a magnifying symbol. Again, I'll demonstrate this, but you click a magnifying symbol, you point that at a particular photo or item in a photo, and then you'll get a whole bunch of related content to that. So there's this thing called try on, which is an interesting feature. So in the US, there's more options. So you can try on, I think you try on sunglasses, clothes and stuff like that. And furniture, definitely furniture. In the UK, unfortunately, but it's slightly more restricted. So it's only lipstick that you can try on. So you can look forward to me embarrassing myself shortly by giving you a demo of that. One thing that they're pretty good at actually is predicting the future Pinterest themselves. So they look at the type of content that people are searching for, and then they make predictions for the coming year. And last year they had top 10 predictions, and I think 8 of them actually turned out to be correct. So they're sort of like looking at trends. So to give an example, one thing that they're predicting for this year are rounded edges on furniture. So, you know, like those sofas where you kind of, rather than just have your traditional sort of like rectangular sofa, the sort of like wraparound sofas with curved edges and stuff. So that's kind of one of the things that they're predicting. So yeah, click on that link when you get the slides, and you can see for yourself, or Google the predictions. Quite interesting for market intelligence. So the pins, they're 5 different types: standard pins, which are just called pins; video pins, self-explanatory; product pins, which is related to shopping. So a product pin will display price and a product description. Collections are how you display a large number of products. So that works if you've got a whole bunch of product. If you're an e-commerce retailer, then you can show off your whole collection on Pinterest. And idea pins, if you recall, that is the stories on Pinterest. So enough of chat. Let me actually give you a bit of a demo so you can see some of these things that I'm talking about. So best I can do really is I'm just trying to move this over. Unfortunately, it has to be on the left. So that's as big as I can get it. But that is actually Pinterest there. Just going to open my phone. So yeah, let's get the embarrassing bit out of the way first. So this is Charlotte Tilbury. Well, not advertising, but it is a pin, is what essentially we're looking at here. And you will notice that there is this try on button here. So this is quite a clever AR feature. So if I click on that, it's kind of like working its magic, and it's got the camera pointing at me, as you can see. So I can go through different colored lipsticks, and you can probably see that my lips are changing color as I do that. And then I'm getting the description of the lipstick underneath. It's like popping up with a text description, and then it's describing it underneath as well. So if I'm interested in one of these, then I can just click on that, and then that's going to take me straight through to the Clinique website in this case, get more information on that lipstick, and then I can buy it. A bit like other apps, when you go off to the website, they've got this sort of really locked down quite nicely now. So you're kind of almost still within Pinterest, because you can see that there's a bar at the bottom here. And then if I want to go back to where I was, then I can do that. And then if we go back to, that's the main search area of Pinterest. So we're in sort of like the main part of the app. So as I mentioned, the explore area here is going to be a big part of how people use Pinterest. And then the shopping area. So you can shop for, you can search for anything here. So let's just get rid of this and go for something else. So if we put in, I don't know, let's put in sofas. So if we put in the word sofa here, then we're getting grouped ideas. I mentioned that Pinterest is constantly sort of promoting related ideas for you. So that appears there. And then if you wanted, something like really specific, then here we go. We could go for sofa ideas, living room, and it's coming up. If we go even more specific, so just put in the word, I don't know, red, which is probably not many, but let's put in red sofas and see what, there we go. So we got several sort of like red sofas, and we're getting some direct product pins coming up here. So you can see these have got prices on them. And then we could go into that for a bit more detail. You can see that that one's on a discount, and as you can see, you've got a couple of options here. Nice button to visit the website, which is probably almost certainly going to be directly to the product page. Let's just try that. There we go. So there's that sofa there. Get rid of all the legal stuff. Or if you want to, you can save that down there. To a particular board. So any of the content on Pinterest, you can almost like reuse. So if I save that to any of my, it's a secret board that I mentioned there. So if I save that to any of my boards here, that will then be displayed essentially as my content. So there is a lot of borrowing of content, if you like. And if you want to create a new board, so I don't think I've got anything on furniture, so I could just create a new board called furniture, or even, it could be more specific, could be sofas or whatever. It's even giving me prompts to do that. Got the option to keep it secret or not, which I don't want. Hit create, and then it's literally very slick. It's now saved that in my board called furniture. So really, really quite useful to be able to do that. And you can do that from the web. And you can upload photos to do that as well. So if you are uploading content, just quickly through the menu at the bottom here, pretty standard stuff. So you've got your home, which is your news feed here. You've got the watch tab, which is your videos that people have uploaded, and mainly going to be idea pins there. And as you can see, it's got a very sort of strong TikTok kind of like feel to it there. Then we've got the search, which we've been through, looked at that before. Then we've got the creation button. So this is where you create your story, your regular pin, your board, or your ad. You wouldn't see that one if you hadn't got a business profile. This is kind of like your notifications and messages. They've kind of like put them all together. So you've got your updates, they call it, but essentially notifications here. And then you've got your ability to have messages and do your messaging there. And then the final one is profile. Isn't really too much to the profile. There's not tons of things that you can add to it and play around with it, but you want to kind of like do your website. You can see I've got a verified website there. And I just got a very bare bones description. You can be a bit more elaborate there if you want to be. And that's pretty much it. Although once I've just clocked that, so that's the analytics area. So again, with the business profile, you can get in on the analytics. Final thing to demonstrate. So let me just quickly do something like this. So I've got a pair of sunglasses on my desk here. So I'm going to show you this clever AR technology, which is really rather good. So I'm just going to go back to the full search a second. So if we just, here we go. So gone back to the full search, and I was looking for that camera icon there. So if I click the camera icon, you'll see it does its, oh, let's get rid of that. It's going back to the old one. So let's just get that to be, no, how can I, I'm not sure why it's getting rid of it. Let me just close that down completely. I'll just close the app to be sure and fire it up again, because this is really quite clever stuff. So opening the app, going to, no, don't want to do a survey, going to search, hit the camera. Right, here we go. So if I go to this here, and that's still not what I'm looking for, actually, I don't think. Let me just see if this works. Yeah, okay, there we go. So can you see that it's kind of done that magic colored dots thing, taken a picture of the glasses there, and what has it done? It's basically put up a whole bunch of other glasses. So you can quite easily see how that could be used. You could be in a shop, you see a nice pair of sunglasses that you want, or literally any item, and it's going to put up a whole bunch of similar items. And you can see the text pretty damn good, because they're actually, all of those there, they're very close, aren't they, to the photo? Just going back to that. So literally in terms of color, style, and everything. So it's very interesting technology. And of course, if you want to save that down, just as you would with your regular photo, then you can save that down into your board. So if I click on that, you've got those board choices again there as before. That little symbol, if you look for that, it's basically going to do the same thing again, but that little magnifying symbol is available on desktop as well. So if you see something within Pinterest that you want to use, you can just draw, put this box around it. I just change the item. I haven't really got much on my desk here. Pretty boring, but just a cable. So if we do that again, so if I go back and go back there, take another photo. So I'll just take a photo of this cable a sec. So this time, if it's going to do its usual thing and come up with other cables, it might not think it's a cable, but if I go in here, you can see that I can essentially draw this box around it. Just doing this with my mouse, so I've lost it there. Just try again. That's good enough for the demo, I think. But the point being is that part of it, the magnifying glass bit where you can draw this and then it automatically comes up with similar products, that is available on desktop. So obviously taking the photos thing is on mobile, but the AR technology to a certain extent is still available on desktop. So I think it's pretty much, it's very quick, but that was a quick sort of tour there, I think, of the Pinterest app. So a few tips then. Quality, important, as I mentioned. Just like Instagram and other apps, you've got they call it captions. So you basically, that's your description of the pin. So it's important that that's concise, simple, easy to understand. There is a bit of a debate about whether you should use hashtags or not. I definitely think you should. Make sure that you do plenty of repinning. That's even easier. We should sort of saw how easy it is to save a pin, but repinning, there's all this content already on Pinterest, and that is totally acceptable in terms of etiquette to repin people's content. Usual engagement with other people, so do the liking and commenting. If people are commenting on your pins, make sure that you reply to those. And idea pins, they're a bit more the stories, the ideas. In fact, let's go back to the didn't really show you that so much. Let's just go back to the demo very quickly. Just get my phone up here. So with an idea pin, there's a bit more to it than your regular stories, let's say on Instagram. So I'm just gonna, it's difficult using this simultaneously, but let me just come on, let's go there. Okay, so if I was to create an idea pin, I can go to the plus symbol, go to idea pin. Just give you an idea that this is a bit more to it than Instagram, for example. So you can create a video here. So you can use photos, but if you're actually creating videos, if you're using the camera, you're essentially doing a video. So let's just take a quick video there. So going to stop that there. Then you go on to the next step, and you can see that it's playing. And then this is where you do your sort of story stuff. So you can add in your text over the top of it. Screen has gone there. It's frozen for some reason. You can add in text. You can add in stickers, as you might have seen, and you can add in extra pages. So it can be quite a bit more developed than an Instagram story. So you can have photos in there as well as the videos. So yeah, worth storyboarding, but the idea pins are pretty useful. Just back to those tips then, 1 second. A mess on the screen here. Right, so yeah, add stickers, and you can add product pins as well. So that's where you've got the pricing and details actually on the item of the screen. And just to finish off with a few examples. So this is a typical approach. So this is where we've got some products. So it's fundamentally salesy, but not completely salesy, because there's no kind of like obvious call to action here, but they have used product tagging here. But there is advice here. So it's basically saying, if you've got frizzy hair, we can sort it out for you. And then it's telling you how it's going to be sorted out with their range of different products. So this is what I mean by giving a bit extra, making it a bit of a how-to, putting in some tips. So they could have just taken a photo of any one of these individual products in complete isolation against, say, a white background or something, but that doesn't really, it might work, but it doesn't really cut it on Pinterest. So you've got to do that little bit extra. So solution to a problem there. This one is a how-to, pretty nifty little video. So I think it's just 15 seconds long, so I think we can play it. So it's basically a magic broom. So you can see it playing there. Shows how it works and describes how it works there, and then you can just go off to the website and buy it if you like that. This one is Betsy Ben, company that I've worked with in Cheltenham, very good on their designs. So they know what they're doing. So this is an example of a carousel. So it's doing exactly what I was suggesting about context. So rather than just having the image of the board that they're selling, they have got some other items in the frame, and then you can see what it looks like from different angles, because you can scroll through. So you've got a carousel approach with different styles there for your plaque. And this is a product pin, so you've got the price conveniently displayed. You've got the product details if you want to see them. So the focus is very much on the visual. And if you want to visit the website, then all you need to do is click on that or click on the link, and then usual things like you can share it if you want to. And you can see from the screenshot, you can save it down to your own board if you want. So that's an example there. Oh, there's that magnifying glass I was telling you about as well. So this is a screenshot from desktop. This is from a bathroom company, so home furnishings, pretty similar to the above, really, to the previous one. But once again, not just the bathroom mats, but in context, so in the bathroom. So that's really the way to go. nice link to the website. And this is just an example of kind of like a bit of a behind the scenes one. So if you're uploading products and you want to tag them with your pricing and description and so on, this is what it looks like when you're editing. So you click on the particular map that you want to describe, like they've done here. You put in the price, and then you put in the description. So just finishing off with a case study. So this is Wix. So I think we all know Wix. And they wanted to drive awareness, increase sales of their main products. So they ran a whole bunch of video ads, specifically targeting house movers and DIYers, people that renovated their home. And their approach, not really, it's kind of like Ben's expertise here, not really time to go into too much around difference between CPM and CPC, but broadly speaking, one's for awareness and one's for sales. And so they used a combination of both, as well as retargeting. Again, that's quite a concept to explain, but it's about putting yourself in front of people that have already got some sort of awareness and have shown an interest in you. And they did great. So pretty high conversion rate. 0.29%, demonstrated by the fact that that was a substantial increase over the conversion that they were getting from their regular non-paid organic posts. So works for them, or did work for them, as it's worked for many. And finally, just pointing in the direction of Pinterest Business, which is pretty good, like the one over on TikTok and Instagram and Facebook. They're keen to promote their ads, but there is some useful stuff and advice in the hub, if you like, Pinterest Business Hub. So that is worth visiting to learn more if you can see yourself getting involved with Pinterest. So that's it. I hope you found that useful. And as always, happy to take any questions or have a look at anything else again that caught your eye.
No, that was brilliant, Jonathan. And I'll say this now. I think Red Hot Susan looks best on you.
Oh no! I knew I was going to get this.
I think that's the one you should go for. It's your color. No, that was really good. Actually, I thought maybe can I just drop the screen sharing here? There we go. I thought the AR was quite interesting.
It is, isn't it?
Especially like
no one else is really doing that.
Yeah. And I wonder, like, it's quite interesting actually, because you do, I can't remember what the phrase is, but you do hear a lot of people going, oh, I wonder if I check that on Amazon, or I'll check that online to see if it's a cheaper price.
That's it.
And so I wonder if people are doing that. I noticed what was coming up was a lot of other pins that looked very similar to the video, to the photograph that had been taken.
That's right.
So I wonder if you wanted to combat the AR recommendations to make sure people are seeing your images, is maybe you could encourage people to take photos and tag them linked back to your website, so that when the photos come up, the traffic still all comes back to you again. I wonder what you thought about that.
Yeah, definitely. Because that's just going to, it's kind of like if you're not there, you're not going to show up on those related results, are you? So the more people, the more times the photo of your product has been taken, that is definitely going to increase the chances of it appearing, both in that related area, also in the search and in the news feed. So yeah, the more, it's back to that sort of trying to get your customers working as your marketing, as an extension of your marketing department.
Absolutely, really. The lazy marketer. But that's absolutely right. I'll just note, Brian in chat has said really useful, well presented, Jonathan.
Oh, cool.
He says Brian, he feels a bit daft, but he's never used it before, and he will try and set it up over the weekend. And you know what, nice. Brian, if I can just say, Brian's got a website where he sells ladies' shoes.
Oh,
so
that could work
I
quite
think
nicely.
It's absolutely ideal. So yeah, Brian, definitely get that set up, and next time we speak, we can have a chat about it, and if need be, then maybe bring in Jonathan for that. But I think it's almost absolutely ideal that we look at that. I've got another couple of questions, if I may, Jonathan.
Yeah, sure.
The video editing you mentioned, does it have Pinterest branding? on it?
No. It's just you can just sort of like trim it down to, well, it has to be within the 60 seconds, but typically, if you're using your phone, probably the start and the end is going to be rubbish just because of the fact you're picking up your phone or whatever, or pressing the button. So you can just remove that and then just have the core content. So that's quite handy to be able to do that. I mean, you could shoot it in portrait on your phone and upload, but I think actually it's probably better just to go straight for it and do it within Pinterest, if you like. Yeah,
well, I'm just wondering if you could use it as your video editor, then you could push that video. Can you export it out and push it into Instagram?
I think so. I think it does save it down. Yeah, that's the thought. If your phone hadn't got that on it, then yeah, that could be an idea, actually. Yeah.
You know me, I'm lazy. I mean, any way I can find it, rather than remaking the same content, if we can reuse something or find a good editor. Okay, a few more questions. Does the I can't remember if you mentioned this, but does the algorithm that displays in search various pins, does that reward accounts that regularly upload or update their pins and add more pins? So if I were to add more pins to my board, would that mean I'm more likely to get shown?
Yes, not directly algorithmically, if that makes sense, but simply because of the fact that it's more recent. So
recency is the important.
Yeah, recency is going to be. So I suppose that is algorithmic, isn't it? So that is going to be a factor. Yeah,
but it's quite I guess reasonably straightforward then. So if you wanted to be seen more, it's better not to just have a blitz and put it all on there. It's probably to have a bit more strategy and post regularly.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that would help for sure. Yeah.
Question from Philippa here. What are the costs of having Pinterest business accounts and uploading product information, i.e. advertising?
Yeah, good question. So nothing to have a business account and all the benefits that brings. So that does give you the product tagging, the product description, the ability to put a price, even a discount, as we saw on one or two of the examples. But needless to say, the advertising you do have to pay for, but it is surprisingly perhaps good value. You can, when I've experimented in the past, it does seem that you can get a lot of impressions and awareness particularly if you're going, which you probably will do, if you're going for the clicks and the visits to website, which is probably what you're going to do, so the CPC, then actually they seem to just cost it on the virtually 90% plus on the CPC. So in other words, all the sort of impressions that you get, there doesn't seem to be much cost attached to that, if that makes sense. If I just sort of mention Facebook, those of you familiar with Facebook kind of like seem to do the opposite. So if you they try and charge you for absolutely everything. So if you run a CPC ad, but you only like get it doesn't really work very well, and you get a handful of clicks, they'll still use all your budget. And it kind of like seems that, yes, the cost per click will go up, but it seems like they are charging you for the impressions, even though that wasn't the main objective of the ad, if that makes sense. Whereas on Pinterest, you seemingly paying not that much for the clicks, and yet you're getting a whole bunch of impressions off the back of the ad as well. So I think it's definitely worth looking at. And yeah, the business section's got case studies and examples, and they're pretty supportive on the ads. So it could be worth a try. Back to the point early on about, I definitely think it's a low budget, low effort platform, which, let's face it, is quite refreshing in the landscape of things these days, where some of them, particularly say Twitter and TikTok, are really actually quite hard work to get results from. So it can be that's a big advantage. It's its USP, I think, really.
Yeah, I think so. And actually, so in paying for the advertising, yes, you pay for the clicks, but really you're getting a lot of brand awareness. People are seeing it, and maybe that people are, if they're pinning your pins, so if they're bringing them into their own boards, adding to their boards, you're not paying for that.
No.
You're only paying if they click through to the website. So actually encouraging people to collect it, then click through later. That could be a good way of doing it.
Yeah.
Good. Just two more questions. One is it best to post into Pinterest directly, or can you auto post in from additional services? Because I know that some social networks give sort of a preference if you're on that platform naturally.
Yeah, I must admit, I haven't got much experience of scheduling it in. I'm not sure that so many, I would say, do it naturally on the basis that I haven't really noticed much integration with the two that I'm fairly familiar with, Buffer and Social Pilot. I'm not even sure that they support Pinterest, to be honest. So if they don't, not sure that the others would as well. I don't know whether that's an API thing or what, but it's a good question. I can't really answer that. I won't sort of attempt to pretend to answer that. Not really sure is the answer there.
Yeah, okay. Well, maybe we can experiment with that. But I would always advocate, if you can, to post directly. I think you get the benefit of all of the services, don't you, that they offer. Well, Brian's got another question here. Brian says, you'll not be surprised to hear that he looks at ladies. He doesn't look at ladies' shoes as a consumer.
Yeah.
What maybe you do, Brian? You know, that's fine. But when he does, he often gets stuff about garden design, active wear, and even whales. Do you know any idea? Is that because perhaps Brian doesn't use it enough, and so it doesn't really have a good idea about what his profile is?
I would say so. Either that, or the algorithm was throwing a fit. But it's about data, isn't it? The more data it's got to work on, the more efficient it's going to be. So I think, yeah, for a regular user, it's going to start to get a sense of what you're into, really.
Yeah, and focus more on that.
It should be interesting, because if Brian ends up using it more, then maybe it'll actually refine itself. Come back and tell us, Brian, in a month or so, and see if it's kind of adjusted. I suspect it probably will.
I think it might do. I know my dad had an ad blocker on, and this isn't about Pinterest, but he was looking around the web and he's looking at news sites, and he was always getting the same adverts for clothing, and it's more feminine clothing. And he's like, why am I getting these? And it's because I think that they were obviously booking really low cost, high volume ads, just getting out. They didn't care who they were hitting. And because he had obviously no profile whatsoever, that's why he was getting this sort of dross advertising. Which is quite interesting. Final question, Jonathan.
Can I just hold back to that first one, just point in the audience, because the audience, it is, as we know, it is very important with the advertising. And I think the Wix case study illustrated that, because they could have gone for, homeowners. But I think part of the success was that they drilled down further than that and went for your DIY people, your doer-uppers, your renovators, and your house movers is a clever one, isn't it? So, just because you own a house doesn't mean, you might have just done it up, you might never do it up. But a house mover, there's an implication there that you will probably, get the paint pot out or whatever and get some new furniture in. So that's quite a clever move, I think. So I think the targeting is quite important when it comes to the.
So they're targeting people where there's going to be some change in their lives, where it's likely they're going to need some kind of DIY involvement, however small. Yeah, it's true. Final question, Jonathan. How's the marathon training going?
Oh, very well, thanks. Yeah, so-called tapering stage now. So no more long runs. I'm still doing speed, so I'll be going for a bit of a jog beforehand, and then a speedy 5K at Park Run tomorrow. But definitely easing off on the distance, and then a mere 26 miles to run over 4 hours in Manchester on Sunday week. So
wow.
Yeah, and diet changes next week. So I've been losing a bit of weight to get body weight down, because just physics, isn't it? Less to carry, it should be easier to run. But next week start to bulk up a bit to try and get the energy in and stuff. So yeah.
Well, good luck, and enjoy all the cake when you finish.
Yeah. There'll be lots of
That's what I would be doing.
Definitely, yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Jonathan. Philippa also says thank you and good luck for the marathon running. Thanks very much. I'm sure we'll have you on again, maybe to do some, maybe diving into specific areas, particularly advertising. I think on those platforms would be quite interesting. But we'll catch up with you soon. To everyone else, we are here every Friday from 10 a.m. We cover everything from marketing, social, strategy, SEO, video, and more. I mean, I try and take on many topics, or we bring in people like Jonathan who are experts in those particular areas. Claire is if you're on Basecamp, Claire's going to keep you updated with the schedule every month. She posts sort of a list of what's going on, and we're just planning what's happening for next month at the moment. If you have something exciting, you want to come on and share something you're doing, or do get in contact. Email support@ratherinventive.com. Claire would love to hear from you. And also, if you can't watch live, so if you just can't attend for whatever reason, do share this link with a friend. Get them involved. Get them to come on. It's a good way for them to try out the club and get something for free, a little gift from you. Just send them the Zoom link. Maybe copy in Claire, support@ratherinventive.com, just so she knows who's coming and she can welcome them and just let them know what's going on. Don't forget, you can catch up with any previous webinars on Basecamp. Everything there over the last 3.5 years is available. Otherwise, thank you for watching, and we'll see you all next week. Bye for now.
Bye, everyone.